Markets are priming for an explosive move. Where are we going to go from here? And quite frankly, what makes me believe that? That's what we're going to go through in this particular Bitcoin analysis, guys. Hope everybody's having a decent day today. My name is Keith Allen. Glad to have you with me. If you're new to the stream, hey, welcome. If you've been here for a while, hey, thanks for joining me again. I appreciate the continued support. Whoever you are, whomever you are, you'd be doing me a huge solid if you smashed a couple of buttons for me. Let's start with a like button. Go ahead and add one for the share, and make sure that you hit that subscribe button. That's a little bell up there up top to make sure you don't miss any of the future streams. Live chat is open, by the way, and I always enjoy engaging with you guys. If you've got questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If you have insights, please share them with me. Love to hear what you've got what you've got going on and what you guys think. I see a couple comments coming in, but quite frankly, I don't know what they say. So if you guys could help me out and put those in a Google Translate, I don't want to put that in the middle of the chat here. I don't want to go searching, but I do appreciate having you guys follow along. Let's go ahead and start with the Bitcoin chart. Talk about what's going on there, and then I want to share something that I had shared earlier on my USDT dominance and total 3, etc. I think we should look at that chart as well, and then we'll expand on the TA that goes along with all this stuff. So for starters, let's look at the Bitcoin daily chart, and we can see we are having a decent recovery here today after yesterday. A bit of divergence between crypto and TradFi. Yesterday was a red day for crypto. TradFi was in the green yesterday, coming off of news of a trade deal, at least a temporary trade deal with China. And so that had a lot of people wondering why was TradFi soaring and crypto falling during that. And best I could surmise, I think that we started seeing some capital rotate out of crypto back into equities after that announcement. I expect that to level off as we're seeing today. We are seeing recovery on the crypto side here today, and maybe this continues. Now, the ebb and flow I think is good. The fact that we didn't just rip through 105, I also think is good. In fact, I had said last week, maybe it was earlier this week or last week, I can't remember, but I think it was Friday. A retest of support is not only healthy, it is critical at this point for Bitcoin to validate the RS flip at 100K and then to move from there. So here's what I want to see. Here's what has happened and what I'd like to see happen as things develop. Of course, market doesn't care what I think or what I want, but this is what I'm looking at. So here's the 100K line, and 100K was really largely a psychological resistance level until it was broken. It earned some technical status after the amount of time that we had engaged with it since back in November of last year. But you could see that initial rejection. Finally, it was broken, but it wasn't broken decisively. There were all these, wicks and candle bodies going below it. We popped up for a few days, excuse me, and then broke back down. So there was never really a validated RS flip at 100K. We attempted it again after a breakdown, attempted to recover it again, and same thing. We saw these wicks below, and it broke down again. So we've not had a validated RS flip at 100K. And while we did get somewhat of a support test yesterday, price went down to 100,764 here on this exchange, give or take on whatever exchange you're watching. So does that satisfy my desire to see a support test at 100K? Kind of, but not really, I would say. I do think that we could see some more support testing at that level. And it could even potentially break down lower and hit these moving averages. The fact that it is holding above here is strong to me, and a reason why I would not be short in this market. I know a lot of people had shorted and got squeezed. I know a lot of people were thinking, or maybe some are adding to those shorts, and you could drag those averages up. but I would not be looking for a deep bear market correction here at this stage. That could obviously change. In this market environment, things change very rapidly, one statement at a time, one day at a time. But for the moment, we are in this, we're in a 90-day negotiation period with the first round of tariffs that started in April. So we got May, June. We basically have the summer. And now we've just started another 90-day negotiating period with China. And, pending the results of what comes out of those 90-day periods, I would think that we're going to see some improvement on the tariff situation. And so it is expected that markets will recover. When you come out of the gates touting 145% tariff on China, and then you settle down to 30% on a negotiation period, and it's assumed that, and maybe not wisely, but it is presumed that after the 90 days, the tariffs will be probably even less than the 30%. Even 30% would be is considered by many to be a victory compared to the 145% we were at 2 days ago. And so now it's like not as bad as it could have been, and the market can deal with that. The market can deal with a 30% tariff. Will there be an impact to it? Yes, absolutely. Are the American people going to feel it? Yes, absolutely we are. But it is not going to impact as many businesses as drastically as 145% would. So keep that in mind. So outlook wise, just in terms of the fundamentals, I think the fundamentals are as strong as they've ever been. We see more adoption happening. We see more on the ETF side. We see more states in the U.S. and more countries around the world adopting a Bitcoin reserve or voting on one. And so I think that, and now we see banks, now we see legacy finance starting to offer crypto products to their customers. And that is going to open a whole nother wave of demand that we haven't seen. Am I saying that's the smart money? No, I'm not. The smart money has been here early and been here for years. Okay. If that's you, congratulations. So fundamentally, bottom line, I think that things for Bitcoin are as strong as they've ever been. Now, in terms of what we're seeing in the trend, a couple of things I want to point to for you right here. And keep in mind, any of this could change at a moment's notice in terms of news that alters the cycle. What have I just done? I just moved a bunch of stuff around that I didn't intend to move. Right. So we're always in tune to that, news developments, et cetera. We know there's a changing environment happening in the Middle East. We had another hostage released yesterday from Hamas. We know that we have a potential negotiation happening between Russia and Ukraine, et cetera. So all of these things pointing towards some relief for world economies and geopolitical tensions. But those could escalate again at a moment's notice, and the market will react to that, as it always does. But in the end, the trend is your friend. And what we're seeing here in the trend, let's start here with the moving averages here, right? So you can see the green 21 moving average has unwound and golden crossed all these higher time frame moving averages. We're now have the red 50-day moving average on a trajectory to golden cross the blue 100-day moving average in the next couple of days. So we might even see this start tonight. So even though moving averages are lagging indicators, there's a very good. Oh yeah. Okay, thanks, Cree. I got you. I see that we are not actually sharing the screen. Let's try this again. Thanks, Cree. I appreciate that. Sorry about that, guys. So that's like the second time in 2 weeks I've done this. So here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. Green 21 moving average, right? Looking good. Um, it has golden crossed the 50, the 100 and 200s. Now we have the red 50 about to golden cross with the blue 100. All right. So as I was saying, even though these are lagging indicators, the momentum tends to continue. So that doesn't mean that we can't have a dip and a retest of support somewhere in the middle, but um, for the most part, this trend should continue. Now, a little consolidation here is, in my opinion, a very, very healthy thing. It is exactly what I've been calling for, exactly what I talked about on Friday. And at the beginning of this, I talked about all of this engagement here with this 100K level that had never really validated as an RS flip. So we need to validate this RS flip. And that's why I wanted to see a retest of support here at 100K. We came close yesterday, but not that close, in my opinion. Um, if it had come down a little bit more, I'd have been happier. I would have been satisfied. I'm not completely satisfied with this test being the only, being like, okay, this was it. It's off to the races. I would like to see another test of support closer to that. And if that test of support fell through this 100K and it stopped at the 21-day moving average, I'd be okay. Even if it went down as low as the 2025 Open and it held here, as this has, right? Our last test was a week ago today, where we had nearly a perfect touch. I mean, within a few bucks of where the 2025 Open was. So this is the one for me that really needs to hold for the trend. And this is the one that needs to hold for the next leg up to start from here, right? I want to see consolidation here at 100K, and then we'll go after the all-time high, and at that point we go back to price discovery. So this is one of the things that I look at, and something that really inspired this today was a comment in our Telegram chat. And incidentally, if you want to join us in the Material Indicators Telegram chat, there's a link in the description here. There's also a link on the Material Indicators X page that I encourage you to check out. You can also get it on the Material Indicators website. But a lot of great conversation in there. And somebody in there commented today, when is this bear market rally going to end? And my question is, what makes you think it's a bear market rally? And so, we came to some very critical levels in this trend. And one was the long-term trend line, which, let me add that back in here, or the 2024 trend line, I should say, which we did breach briefly. And I'll tell you why I didn't panic sell at this point. In fact, I bought, and I was very excited to buy here. Number one, we had this support level here previously identified since back in November, and we went and revisited that. Number two, something that I have talked about from time to time is the weekly RSI. And the weekly RSI needs to, or at least historically, the weekly RSI has lived above this line here, this little green line I have, when the market is in bullish trends. And being in a bull trend, being in a bull market does not mean you can't have dips or corrections. In fact, historically, we've seen lots of big corrections in the 20 to 40, 50, even 60% range. And I've been calling for that correction for a long time. And that was another reason I didn't flinch on the on that dip to 74, was because that was within the parameters of the correction that we were looking for. But the biggest factor was this right here, right? We came close to breaching this. In fact, I was watching it during that period of time, and it did briefly extend down into this range. But this is a weekly time frame. And so over the years, I've disciplined myself not to react to every little instance and to let that develop. And what happened is, over the period of a few days, or over that week or so, we saw things that was right here actually that I was talking about. It receded and it came back. And by the weekly close, uh, things were back above this this level. I have it marked at like 41.5 on my chart on the weekly RSI, and that has always worked for me as an indication of when we are indeed in a bull market versus bear market. And so, had that broken down, I would have sold. But it had extended down here before the weekly close. When it recovered is when I bought, and that is where that is a big reason why I feel we are still very much in this in a bull market. And you can see here, here was the wick and the recovery, right? In this weekly candle. And so we had trend precognition signals to back it up, and the rest is history. So this is why I feel strongly about Bitcoin being back in the bull market. But alts are obviously performing really well here this week as well. And I want to share with you a chart. I shared this yesterday for anybody who caught the stream yesterday, but there is a chart that I put together that is, BTC dominance, total 3, and USDT. And historically, the recipe is as such. When Bitcoin dominance is dropping and total 3, which is total market cap of crypto alts, excluding ETH and Bitcoin. When these two are in a divergence like this, that is an indication, but not a confirmation, that an alt rally is upon us. But this third factor here, and a very important one, when money is leaving USDT, right? USDT is a safe haven, right? It's a safe haven when the market is uncertain. They put their money in stables, and USDT being the leading stable, a lot of that's why we look at USDT dominance. If we really wanted to get technical, I could add USDC dominance and all the other stables, but this is a pretty good proxy for what we're trying to achieve here. So when USDT dominance is dropping, that means people are spending their USDT. What are they spending it on? They're either spending it on Bitcoin or they're spending it on alts. And what you can see here is Bitcoin dominance is dropping, which means a lot of that money is rotating into alts. Now, you might ask yourself, how is Bitcoin rising if Bitcoin dominance is dropping? Well, this is what is different with the dynamic these days in the market. And that is, we have so much more demand for Bitcoin than we have in years past and in prior alt seasons, if you will, that the appetite for Bitcoin is unwavering. Okay. In fact, the appetite for Bitcoin is increasing. So it doesn't take a lot when the order books aren't stacked heavy. It doesn't take a lot to move price, and price hasn't soared. It's kind of staying in a stable range here. We're trading in a $4,000 or $5,000 range, which is pretty normal for Bitcoin. As you can see, we have some consolidation happening here, and an extension of that consolidation to me is the healthiest thing that we could see. And I could see this consolidation in this really almost a $9,000 range, or more than a $9,000 range, up to the all-time high, happening here. Hopefully for a little while longer before we break this. I just think that these consolidated moves are better and healthier than big candlesticks that just shoot through and never look back, because we often get retraces. Even these, right? It's like, when is this going to happen? When are we going to go back for a support test? And we ultimately did for most of them. We didn't come back and support the breakout from 69K. And that was something that I was expecting, I was looking for, but we just never got it. So does that mean it can't come? No, of course not. But the longer we spend above here, the less likely it is that we're going to go down there. And again, I'm looking for a support test, another support test here of this 100K level, to validate the RS flip at 100K and move things up further. Now, let's look at how a couple of alts might compare, right? So, and that was the other factor I wanted to share with you on Bitcoin was the the yearly open. We talked about that. We flipped that. So that's another fundamental thing and a technical thing actually that to me says this is bull market territory. We flipped the yearly open. That seems to be validated here. And now we could conceivably retest this before we shoot back up. So going on to alts now, we see a lot of similarities in what we've seen in the Bitcoin chart, where the green 21 moving average is on a trajectory to RS flip these higher moving averages. And here, like on Ondo, for example, we see it is about to cross the 100. It's already crossed the 50. It's now about to cross the 100 in the next few days. And I expect that momentum to continue. And we can see that there is a support test here on a prior open. This was the Q2 2024 open. Doesn't matter what open it was. I mean, the 2025 annual open is a big one for me. But these levels, as this new timescape levels indicator is showing, obviously have some merit. We see a lot of engagement around that, around these levels here. So this is something we've been testing for about, I don't know, a month or so. And so far, I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing out of this indicator. Let's add another one. If you guys have a coin you want me to look up, by all means, throw it out there. Let's see what XRP is doing. XRP is another one that has been defying gravity lately. You can see the moving averages unwinding. We've got one to go here. The 21 is about to cross the 100. We see that we yesterday, actually today, tested support here on the trend line, and price is recovering nicely. And so the fact that this is now above the 0.5 fib, we have a fib retracement from the January high down to the swing low, and that has us now in the golden pocket. So I took this trade. I'm going to, I think there's a lot of potential upside here. I think that from here, the conservative profit taking is here at the top of the golden pocket at the 0.618 fib. Maybe a second TP here at the all-time high, and then I'm looking at these ranges up here, right, as what could pan out as a beautiful trade. So that's where my mindset is on this particular asset. Let me take off the timescape levels so this will work a little bit better. And so this is you see this channel here. This is like my pie in the sky number here. If price continues to soar, if XRP has XRP is one of a handful of coins that I think has some fundamentals, because there's actually has some real use cases and fundamentals associated with it, because it is being used for cross-border payments among a lot of banks, and this is part of what will influence the financial system, right? This is the way. So the fact that that's already in use and expanding, to me, is a reason to dabble in this coin. I do not. I will tell you that I am, in terms of my allocation, I am way heavy weight in Bitcoin, and just a small percentage of my portfolio in alts for a little diversification. And so I'm only doing that with alts that I feel have some use cases and some longer term value. Litecoin is another one that I like. I've talked about this one for quite some time. Um, Litecoin. Oh, I actually have a Litecoin chart up that's marked up and can show us some of those technicals as well. Let's see. So let's turn this off. You can see Litecoin now pinned between a couple of these time-based indicators, including the yearly open. So this one right here is the yearly open, and a flip here is important. We've got more above that. Obviously, there's a lot of history on this coin, but you can see again the um, 21 moving average is on a trajectory to go ahead and intersect with the 100, and after that we can talk about unwinding this purple 200-day moving average here. Let me clean this up a little bit. Just there's a lot of noise on the chart, guys. Sorry, I like to look at a lot of stuff. I realize it's probably overwhelming for you, so I'm gonna quiet down the chart a little bit and take some of that stuff out. But we see support here. We've got a couple of support, 1, 2, 3 consecutive days of testing support here at the 200-day moving average, and it's holding nicely. And now we're growing a doji hammer right now. A lot of hours in the day to see how this candle closes, but nonetheless, the fact that it's recovered here off of this support test, to me, is a solid thing, and it points to more potential upside for Litecoin. It also, I think, has a lot of upside potential. It's got some use cases in payment systems, and so we'll see how that develops. But I'm in a nice trade from Litecoin since down in this range, and I think around here, and so I'm looking to see things move up into the golden pocket, and then to develop from there. Again, my targets are going to be fib based as we go into price discovery. Get past the all-time high. As we move into price discovery, I'm going to look for these fib based targets. I mean, this is who knows if we make it up there, but I will reassess as we reach these targets along the way, and hopefully make some good money in that trade. ETH, somebody asked for. Okay, so I have an ETH chart up. Let's go to ETH. ETH is, as you can see, has been having a great day, actually. Coming off of a really a key support test down here when things bottomed out on that first tariff announcement in April, and things bottomed out that week. Went all the way down to the 2018 top at 1387. I botched this trade. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't always get them right. I took this trade, but before we broke out, it was popping, it was dumping, it was super volatile, and I slid up a trailing stop loss into profit, and that trade closed on me. Nominally profitable. And I thought we were going to go back and test support there lower, and it didn't happen. So I didn't I didn't take that entry. So I'm in another position from a year ago that is recovering nicely, and happy to see this. But I had a nice DCA position, and I should have held it. In hindsight, I should have held it. But that's the game, right? So anyways, what we're looking at in terms of where ETH sits right now, we have flipped some important levels here, including the yearly. Where's the yearly open? Yearly open is way up here. So we got a lot of daylight between here and now to here and there to go get that. That's up here at this level, which is a nice move from here, but you can see not a lot in between. We're just now flipping the 200-day moving average. And so maybe we'll get a little support test here tomorrow back on this 200-day moving average, but up above this that's a big deal, because as you can see, the 21-day, that's the green one, is pulling up. It's also about to intersect or golden cross, I should say, with the blue 100-day moving average, and we're going to look for continued progress up into those prior ranges and up into um, all-time high territory. You know, will that happen by the end of the year or not? I don't know, but again, things are looking good in terms of what I see in the charts. This clearly looks like a breakout move, and getting above this 200-day moving average is a big part of validating a breakout. There's really one other moving average on the weekly chart, and that is the 50. It's really pretty close to where we are right now. So we'll be looking for this RS flip right here. And after, if price can move above it, we'll want to see a support test and then onward towards this double top that sent things plummeting. That is pretty much the overview of everything I'm looking at. Now, in terms of what we see in the order book, I could tell you that we've got a little bit of liquidity movement that looks bullish to me as well. And the order flow here also looks bullish. If you see, as you can see right now, there's here's a big sell order coming out of purple whales. Well, it is expected to see profit taking when we're up in these ranges, right? These are market orders, and nothing is, how should I say, it's not so black and white where it's all or none, right? It is, there are traders in this market and there are investors in this market. And if you look at the data that's available, you'll see that a lot of money is coming off exchanges. A lot of coin is coming off of exchanges, Bitcoin specifically. And you'll see that we're going through periods of accumulation, which, you don't get that off of a day. You don't get that off of a week. You have to get it over time. And I think since we hit that low in April, we're starting to see more buying coming in, certainly on Bitcoin. That was kind of confirmed for me. Let's see, when did that happen? When was that? That was back here early April, right? And so this is really to me painting a picture of accumulation and maybe some quiet accumulation because they don't want price to go ripping away from them. Let's see. I think I'm batting out of order here. LT's FOF is saying LTC. Oh, nice name. LTC is great coin, but such a laggard. Yes. But what are you going to do, right? If the fundamentals are there and you like it, then be patient. Had to pause the stream for some time. I'm behind in my comment. Okay, no worries. Glad to have you with me, Fof. Yeah, listen, everything. A lot of times we'll see the market move together. But it's interesting. I was actually working on some strategies with my MTF mean reversion, with my mean reversion indicator, and TradingView has a new feature where you can create alerts off of a watch list. So, normally I create alerts for each coin that I want to trade, and I'll optimize my bots based on those coins. When you're setting up a bot to trade multiple coins, it can be tricky because they don't all perform the same way at the same time. We do tend to see, and I say tend to see, the market moving kind of in concert with each other. What was I trying? What am I looking for here? I'm looking for the dashboard. There we go. We do tend to see the market moving in concert together, but all coins are not created equal. And here's an example of that. I want to go to a metric we have here in the MI dashboard that shows us price returns and drawdowns. And we can see that, generally speaking, right, we see a lot. This is like all the USDT pairs on Binance, right? There's almost 400 coin pairs here, and you can zoom in and out and see all the different ones. And you can see that they do largely as a group move together, but not in perfect harmony. So where we sit right now, let me get to let me just, where we sit right now, um, some, are making big moves where they're up 20, 25, 30% or more, and some are still finding lows. So it becomes challenging to program a bot to universally work with every asset. So that's why I like finding a handful that are manageable. I personally can't. I personally have a hard time managing too many different trades at once, so I try and keep it really simple, and not overwhelm myself with dozens and dozens of trades at a time. I try to focus on quality and look for those opportunities. So again, look at this. Peanut up 91% in the past 14 days. Um, and right next to it, Pixel up 55%, Pivx 24%, 55% on Pepe, 18% on Pendle, OXT minus 1%, Orca 1%, Ondo up 9%, Move minus 35%. So they're not all the same. And so if one's a laggard, it's okay. If you like if you like the project, if you like the coin, I wouldn't sweat it, right? Be patient. Be patient. That's the moral of the story there. So I'm going to leave you with a parting shot here of the order book. And one of the things I wanted to show you is in terms of what's developing. We did have a kind of a mysterious block of bid liquidity show up at this 86K level, which I find interesting. Does it mean that we're going to 86? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that somebody thinks we could or wants to put a stink bid down there? Yes, that's what it does mean. But let me show you what that means as well. Something else that it means. If price did go to 86, we actually have some confluence with that level. It was a prior RS flip around 86.5. So that's an interesting level for me. But what I would be watching, more importantly than that 86, is this 2025 open. And if this holds, then the bull stays healthy and intact. And if it breaks down, then we get into some critical areas that we really have to watch very, very closely to ensure that the trend doesn't break. Simple as that. All right. What I'm hoping for between now and then is really that we just get a support test here, or two, or three, maybe even more, around this 100K, and that 100K holds. We consolidate here, and then we move into price discovery after an all-time high, and that price discovery could take us into the stratosphere. Quite frankly, we haven't even reclaimed the structure. Okay, so on my longer term horizon, we have let me go to the weekly and we can see this a little bit better. We have a parallel channel. I call this my lifetime channel. And we've fallen out of this channel since 2022, right? And price has been trying to work its way back in, but has yet to do so. So if price can manage to get back in that channel, then we have a real opportunity, because price discovery could take us, price discovery could go one of two ways. We could grind up one of three ways. We could grind along this lower, this support level of this is the 2024 trend line. We could grind along this trend line and stay up here and grind up into deep six-figure Bitcoin for years. Another possibility is we grind up to this lifetime channel, potentially never make it back in, but are still in deep six-figure Bitcoin for years, and will eventually get to seven-figure Bitcoin if we hug that trend line it would take until December of 2027. But the preferred route is to consolidate, break the all-time high, and then retest support, work our way up to here, eventually break back into this lifetime channel. And that gets us into seven-figure Bitcoin much sooner, on an accelerated pace. And it's much easier to identify where resistance is from there, because once we, this is the glass ceiling on price discovery as far as I'm concerned. And once we break into this, then this becomes the glass ceiling on price discovery. So a lot of potential upside, in my opinion. And I think that we are poised and priming for these moves to happen. Hard to put a time frame on when it's going to happen, because these catalysts come very, very, can come very, very quickly. We do have some decent economic reports coming here this week and last week that have the market feeling good. And if that continues, then this puts some of the tariff noise in the rearview mirror, at least until we get to the end of these negotiating periods and we see where they settle and how that might impact inflation and consumer spending moving forward. But at the moment, things look pretty solid to me. I do like that, this bid down here isn't of too much concern for me. The fact that we have a ladder moving up higher is a positive sign, in my opinion. And if we zoom in to lower time frames, we can see that we actually have bids stair stepping up a little bit and asks getting thinner. So this is all a recipe for more up. Yes, deep liquidity here at 110. If we can clear this 106, 110 will be the next level of resistance. That, of course, is just above where the all-time high is. So expect this to be tough to break too. But over time, we want to take out each level by level, go back, test support, work up to the next level, work this out, test support, go to the next level, et cetera, et cetera. That's, in my opinion, the healthiest route to the next leg up. Hope that gives you guys some insight. This has been a long one, but lots to talk about. So I appreciate you guys chiming in and engaging with me here. I hope this has been insightful for you guys. If you have not had a chance to engage in the live stream and you're watching the recorded version, drop a comment. I'll always go back and engage with those comments on the recordings. Thanks again, guys. Hope you have a great day, and hope the rest of the week is profitable for you.